What's going on, everybody? Welcome to week number 3 of the vlog. On deck today, I've got lunch with Hayden. I have not seen him since I got back from New York. So it's been almost a month and a half, which is crazy. So yeah, we're going for lunch at Maddie, and then the rest of the day, gonna do some editing, some cleaning. Again, full weekend off. If you watched the last vlog, full weekend off for the first time in a while. Other than that, had some work stuff this morning. 67's round 2 scheduling out, so I had to put that out. But anyways, I'm heading to lunch now.
I got a rooftop. You ever just have fun instead of trying to show people you have fun?
What's enabled him to be as successful as he has is the hard work, and I think that's something that we should take away. Like, you can't get anywhere in life without working hard, and I think that's something that people need to. I think people realize it, but you got to remember that hard work is a variant to success. Luck is a factor, skill is a factor. But the biggest influencer in the outcome of your life is how much work you're willing to put into it.
One of my goals today was to do all the YouTube clips for the Brandon Hatcher and Lindsay Metzeler episodes. But our Wi-Fi is so hit or miss. I mean, it's more miss than it is hit these days. But this clip is like 4 minutes long, and I'm just over halfway done. And it's already been over half an hour. So it's taking over an hour to upload a single 4-minute clip, which is brutal. I've heard good things about Tech Savvy, but they haven't been great for us. Anyways, so in the meantime, while that's doing its thing, I'm working on the Instagram content for the Lindsay Metzeler episode. I'm making the best use of my time while this does its thing. Big day today, going on CBC Radio this afternoon. They emailed into one of our comms guys at work, and they wanted to talk to the guy that runs 67 social media. So I'll be going on CBC this afternoon. There's a chance to sit down with myself and the guy that runs the Sens social media, but they weren't sure about the Sens guy last time I talked to them. But that's pretty exciting, so I'm excited for that. Gotta head to work now, got a ton of work I gotta do, and then I gotta leave work around 2-ish so I can get to CBC on time. Just stopped in back at home after work, just on my way to the interview now. CBC actually just posted an article about me in the 67 social media, which is pretty cool. If I remember, I'll link it in the show notes, but I'm excited to get to the station and record the interview. Hopefully, I'm gonna ask if I can just kind of prop my phone up on the table and record it. We'll see if they'll let me do that. That'd be pretty cool to feature in here, but if not, I'll catch up with you guys after.
This week, the team continues to feed its social platforms with these engaging and entertaining updates. There's the thread on the piles and piles of food that a team of young men eats in a day. You have the locker room shots of the players right before showtime, with also a cuddly golden retriever as well. The team has boasted some big social media wins this season, wins that fueled bigger crowds, and many are saying a renewed image. Joining me now to talk about how they did it, 67's digital coordinator, Jacob Kelly. Hi there.
Hi, how you doing? I think it gives fans more access. Mm-hmm. Like you talked about, they get to see inside the locker room right before puck drop. And unless you're watching on like a big game where you get cameras in like locker room before the game, you don't usually get that. So we can kind of peel back the curtain a little bit and give people access and viewpoints they don't normally get. I also think a big change we've noticed this year, and not that people didn't recognize our players last year, but we're really starting to have more recognizable people within the community. Like we had noticeable players in years past, but this year, individual player content with recognizable faces I've also seen fans really engaging with, whether that be a Michael DiPietro, right, a Ty Felber. Different players are becoming more and more recognizable, and I'm not saying that they weren't in years past, but I've noticed that people are resonating with individual players more than they have before. I don't alter it too much. Like, I mean, when it comes to a win, I might be a little bit more excited when it comes to what I'm writing copy and stuff and different captions. When it comes to a loss, it's not like you can hide it. Losses are going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I continue to roll out the content we would normally roll out, maybe limiting a couple posts here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty similar. I might just not have the same excitement or amount of emotion as I do with a loss, obviously, because you don't want to be excited when the team loses. But in a 68-game season, losses are going to happen, and you can't avoid them, so I don't want to hide that. You can't hide it. Yeah. So I just go about business as usual, and just, like I said, not as much excitement and emotion in a loss, of course.
Jacob Kelly, digital coordinator for the Ottawa 67s. He also hosts a podcast and video blog called My Social Life. We'll send out a link from CBC all in a day.
About to go live on Instagram, recording from the couch. I don't know if you can tell. Oh, that's disappointing. But yeah, gonna jump live here. Gonna play some of the clips right now. I was on CBC today, and yeah, did a 10-minute interview about 67 social media and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Didn't feel like 10 minutes. It felt like 4 minutes. It was so fast. But it was fun. I recorded the whole thing. Let me record the whole thing on my phone. So I might post the full interview on YouTube, the full video, which would be pretty cool. I'm going to watch back, see if I like it or anything. Going to try going live one more time. If it lags out again, I'm just going to shut her down. No point in live streaming if the quality isn't very good. Yeah, that's the thing with the podcast now. I'm getting faster at editing them, so I'm like a month in advance. I just scheduled an episode for April 29th, so I'm 4 episodes ahead right now, which is huge. Like, I'm not complaining about that. Like, that's awesome. But then it comes time when I publish the episode and I forget what we talked about sometimes. So that's a little bit of an issue. I also, like, I struggle sometimes when I'm recording the takeaways episodes when I would forget what was talked about in the most recent episode. So I still like the Andrew Zito one, episode 5. I mean, I don't dislike any of my episodes. It's hard for me to pick the favorite. But Andrew Zito was cool. He was the 5th one, and he was he was my most downloaded episode for the longest time. He's just a really interesting dude, really good dude too. Like, if you guys don't follow at SZETO, SZETO on Instagram, definitely check him out. Super good photographer, videographer. Has a job with the Coast Guard, so he's traveling quite a bit. Does a really good like outdoor nature content, and he just built an A-frame, like a little cabin in the woods in Quebec that's on their lot, and that's really cool. So he also makes canoe paddles out of skateboards. He's just a really interesting dude. Does a lot of cool things. So that episode stands out. But in terms of recent ones, like the Caleb Ralston one right now, definitely one I'm pretty stoked on. Like, it was just so cool. He's just a good dude too. Like, couldn't have been a nicer guy. That was definitely not my greatest live stream, but that's gonna happen from time to time. Not as much talk about like branding and social content and stuff as I would like. Like I said, that's gonna happen. I don't have a lot of followers. Just gonna kind of keep grinding and keep doing those live streams. Maybe one day they'll get to the point where I want them to be, but it's a bit of a challenge when there's only 2 people in the live stream and no one's asking questions and you don't really know what to talk about. So that's something I got to work on, but this is going to happen early on. You're not necessarily going to have questions just rolling in the entire time. So yeah, not my greatest live stream, but just going to keep pushing. What is going on? This isn't my usual like marketing content, but I think this is important content. Senna, what happened here? How did this happen? Dude. Just booked a podcast for Thursday night. It's with Chansey. She's a local fashion and beauty lifestyle influencer here in Ottawa. I reached out to her a while ago. It didn't end up working out, but it's working out now. So we're recording one Thursday night. We're recording one actually in the apartment. This is the first time I'll record an episode in the apartment. When was the last one I recorded in the apartment? It was before New York. It's been a long time. Since Joey Kidney? Wow. It's been a long time since I've recorded one in the apartment. I'm actually going to record one on the couch, not the desk, because I don't have a second chair for the desk. So it's going to be the first podcast I record that I'm hosting on the couch. I recorded one where I was a guest on the couch earlier. But so that'll be a fun one. I got to do my research tomorrow now. But yeah, I'm excited. She actually just sent me a link to a blog post she did about 2019 influencer marketing trends that she wants to talk about. It's always cool when the guest has things I want to talk about. So I'm really excited to have her on the show. She also does some keynote speaking and stuff. So she'll be a fun person to interview. But right now I'm just uploading Brandon Hatcher YouTube clips. And while one's uploading, I'm going to do some reading. I'm reading Principles by Ray Dalio. I actually started it months ago and I haven't read in a long time. And I need to make an effort to start reading more again. So I'm going to jump into this book while these clips upload, but I'm excited to have Chance on the podcast. You'll probably see some clips before the end of this vlog from that episode, as long as it doesn't get canceled or anything. And yeah, I'm stoked. You're probably wondering what I'm doing up here, and I just come up here sometimes when I need to focus. There's just less distractions up here. That's cool. I can see the ice. It's just a dope spot to work. It's a little dark, which is a little creepy, but I mean, that's not the end of the world. But no, I just cranked out like 7 emails. Like, just not put them in the email software yet, but I wrote like 7 emails for marketing purposes in the last like 20 minutes, which usually takes me longer. So I like to come up here when I need to really get shit done. Just doing some research for Thursday's podcast. We're just starting. Don't have much written down yet. I've been doing some like research, like poking around different social channels and blogs and stuff. But yeah, Thursday's podcast is with Chansey. She's a local blogger here in Ottawa. My big goal with this one is I want to write less on the paper, because When I first started doing the podcast, I had like a ton of notes, like 7-8 pages worth of notes. And then I was like, okay, I got to be good. And I limited myself to 2 pages. And for a little while, I was bouncing on my laptop and not doing a very good job. But for the first little while, I was like 7 pages, and then I got it down to 2. And I was keeping myself to 2 to 3 pages, which was a lot better, a lot less written down. And then when I went to New York, I was so worried about forgetting and not having good interviews, I kind of digressed, and went back to writing a lot more 4 or 5 pages, sometimes 6 pages worth of notes. So now with this one, I'm going to try and get back to where I was and limit myself to maximum 3 pages worth of notes for this interview. I think I should be good. Because I found too when I was in New York, I just remember doing all the research and thinking of all the questions that I would just glance down and take like a 1 point from my notes. So I don't need to write as much as I had been. So my goal with this one, 2 to 3 pages, keep it quick. Hopefully that'll trim down some of my research time and my note-taking time, because that's one of the longest parts of doing the podcast, because I get so sidetracked and scatterbrained when I'm trying to write everything down. So if I can just focus in and get it done, hopefully I'll be done here within an hour. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to My Social Life. I'm your host, Jacob Kelly, and today's a bonus episode. And today actually isn't an episode of My Social Life at all. So earlier this week, I was on a local radio station, CBC, All in a Day. And for a little bit of context, my full-time job is I'm the digital coordinator for the Ottawa 67s. I'm talking about like the people that you wouldn't normally meet if it wasn't for social media. And like you think of the context of this trip to New York, every single person that we met was through Instagram DM. Brandon talks about like you can DM anybody. You can message literally anybody. You can message Kevin Durant, which is crazy. When you think about it in the grand scheme of things, you have access to everybody in the entire world. Well, for the most part, anybody that's on social media in the entire world. And I feel like not a lot of people take advantage of that. A lot of people, I generally don't feel like a lot of people don't. And when you look at this New York trip, we did. We took as much as we could have. We were DMing so many people, trying to get people on the podcast, people that we never would have been able to without Instagram DM. Like, it was crazy. We met everybody was either met through Instagram or through finding someone's email on Instagram and sending them a message. We literally met Brandon. It was a Tuesday night. We just finished recording the episode with Buster Share. And Hayden was just going through like the nearby location while Buster and I were recording, and he found Brandon because Buster lives near VaynerMedia. So Brandon came up and Hayden DM'd Brandon, and Brandon was down to record, and it's crazy. And one thing Brandon talked about is he did an Instagram story about this episode we recorded. He did it the day after, and he was saying how you should never say no for the other person. And what he means in that is that it's not like Hayden looked at Brandon's Instagram account and he was like, this guy works for Vayner, he'd never say yes. Like, I'm not even going to bother sending him a DM. He was like, you know what, whatever. I'm going to send this guy a message. Maybe he says yes, maybe he doesn't. Like, I'll send him a message. I just recorded the best takeaways episode of the podcast yet. Like, I'm doing the Brandon Hatcher takeaways, and I don't know, I just got into a rhythm, and I feel like I crushed it. I feel like I provided some good value. I had some good points. What definitely helped is I sat down before I recorded this one, and I wrote down some notes. Like, usually I'll write like bullet points of the things that Brandon said that I want to talk about, but that's it. But now I'll like write like why I thought it was important, and then I'll like relate a story to it. And yeah, I just went and talked for, I don't know if I'm lining this up right, but 29 minutes, 29 and a half, almost half an hour. These episodes are usually like 8 minutes. Sometimes I find myself at the 5-minute mark and I'm struggling and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to keep going. But like I said, this one I just got into a rhythm, and I don't want to say I crushed it because I feel like I'm really hyping myself up too much, but I'm just so happy with how this episode turned out. I'm just buzzing right. Like, that's why I'm recording this. I just had to talk about it. And yeah, I think definitely writing those notes beforehand helped me out, and maybe I'm just in the right headspace today, but yeah, I'm really excited for people to hear this one. I think I actually provided some solid value in this. The personal stories, I kind of thought it was something that Fahad said, I don't want to get his name incorrectly, Fahad said in his podcast episode. I haven't actually read it yet, but something he said that just resonated with me, that when he's giving his keynotes, he has a couple certain points when he's building his workshops, and personal stories is one of them. So I'm remembering a couple of the points that he said when he's building out a speech, and I try to kind of implement that in here, and yeah, it paid off. Almost half an hour for a takeaways episode. That's probably the longest one by like 10 minutes. Like I said, I'm really excited for people to hear this. I'm actually going to jump in and do the same thing. I'm going to try and record the Lindsay Metzelaar takeaways episode right now. We'll see how that one goes. But yeah, I'm going to get to that. Forgot to record a clip from the Lindsay takeaways episode, but I got it done and scheduled. Also scheduled, oh, that's the wrong one. Where is it? The Brandon Hatcher episode. Scheduled that one as well. And I scheduled my interview from the radio the other day. I've decided to post it on the podcast as well. Just give people a little insight and a little background into who I am. Cool little bonus piece of content. And because they let me record the entire interview, I also scheduling it on YouTube for Saturday morning. I synced up the good audio with the video that I took, and I even made a little thumbnail here. Nothing too special, but I usually don't put a lot of work into thumbnails on my personal account when I know that I should. But yeah, so pretty productive evening so far. Just got home from work, had a pretty productive day today. It was pretty fun. We shot the round 2 preview video. I have a ton of fun shooting those. Also, for the first time, I was the guy asking the players questions for like post-practice comments for the upcoming game. So I did that, made some quote graphics from that.
What's going on, 67s fans? For the first time in over 7 years, the Ottawa 67s are heading to the Eastern Conference semifinal, and this is your round 2 preview. The 67s are taking on the Sudbury Wolves in round 2, and during the 2018-2019 regular season, they were evenly matched, with each team winning one game on home ice in overtime. 67's defenseman Nikita Kotyuk is one that you'll need to keep an eye on this weekend. He was +9 in the first round of the OHL playoffs, and he was not on the ice for a single even-strength goal against. He also chipped in on the offensive end with a goal and an assist. Keep an eye on 67's goaltender Michael DiPietro. He's coming hot off his first OHL series win, where he put up a save percentage of .916 and a goals against average of 2.00. Watch out for Sudbury Wolves rookie forward Quinton Byfield. The 16-year-old is 6'5", 215 pounds, and he's currently leading the Wolves in playoff points with 3 goals and 4 assists in 4 games played. He was the first overall pick in the most recent OHL priority selection, and he's a projected early first-round pick in the 2020 NHL draft. Sudbury goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is also coming off his first OHL playoff series win in round 1, where he put up a save percentage of .946 and had a goals against average of 1.95. The last time the Eastern Conference semifinal was played right here on this ice was back in 2012, when the 67s had players like Tyler Toffoli, Sean Monahan, Peter Mrazek, Cody Ceci. They're playing the Barrie Coles, and they beat them in 7 games on home ice. Want to cowboy up with the Ottawa 67s? You can now get your very own 67s cowboy hat right here at the team shop for only $20. Supplies are limited though, so get yours before they're all gone. Prepaid parking is already sold out for games 1 and 2, so seek alternate methods of transportation. As always, included in your ticket is free OC Transpo 3 hours before and after the game, or you can take our park and shuttle from Carleton University. Just use the 3rd level of lot P18, and the shuttle will drop you off right here between Gate 3 and the Aberdeen Pavilion.
But it is 5 o'clock right now, so Chancey's going to be here in 1 hour. So I've got to quickly tidy up the apartment a little bit because it's a little messy, set up all the gear, and then record. I got 1 hour, so let's get to it. All set up and ready to record episode number 37 of My Social Life. It's crazy. It's the first time I've recorded in the apartment since, I don't even remember, early February, late January, when I recorded the Joey Kidney episode. Super excited though. This is gonna be the first time I actually record my podcast on the couch. I was on someone else's podcast and we shot it here. We recorded on the couch. This is the first time I'm gonna try and record an episode of My Social Life on the couch. Never been done before, in this apartment at least. So should be all good. I'm not too worried. I'm excited to record this episode with Chancey. I'll play some clips right now. And I wanted to ask you what your definition of the word influencer is, because I feel like there's like a negative stigma around the word.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about it.
I just use it because it's like the most widely accepted
It's an
term.
industry term,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so I know I always tell people that too. Like actually, when I hear the word influencer, I feel like someone's holding like a pendulum and it's like I'm hypnotizing you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the word influencer, like I tell people, if you're looking at it through like an SEO lens, well, that's the word that people know. That's the word that people use. I often use the example of like coach. So some people don't like the word coach, like I'm a lifestyle coach or that kind of thing. And it's, again, industry term. So, you know, what can you do until we change it? I know people are using the word content creator, which is fine. I just find that content creator doesn't carry the the influence piece where people are looking at you for something, that authority, I find it's missing in the word content creator.
So do you have any advice for people that are just getting into the influencing game and like how they should go about landing their first brand deal?
I think the first thing is you need to figure out like who you are, what you do, what your message is, what your niche is, and not really focus on like, I want to be an influencer when I grow up. That's a hard goal to achieve, you know? Like, it's like, what are you trying to do? The outcome is that you might influence people when you're doing something, when you're good at something, when you have lots of information to share, when you're teaching, when you're giving value. But it's like, you know, it's like, I want to be popular, I want to get an Oscar, but it's like, what do you want to do to get the Oscar? That's the outcome.
Just wrapped up recording an awesome podcast episode with Shancy. I learned that I've been saying her name wrong since I've found her Instagram. I thought it was Chancey, but it's Shancy. But no, it was awesome. It was the 37th podcast episode I've ever done, which is crazy. We're creeping closer and closer to that 50 milestone. I mean, nothing special is going to happen when I get to 50. It's just crazy to think about that I'll have done 50 at that point. But that was good. We even had a nice little chat after the podcast. We were talking about how, like, we were talking on Facebook ads, and we were talking about how it's like sometimes the things that we know, we don't realize that not everybody knows them. Like when it comes, just in my personal case, when it comes to Facebook ads, I'm not like, I don't want to say like I'm great at Facebook ads management, but I think I'm pretty good at them, and I'm definitely better than the average person. And I forget that the average person, when it comes to Facebook ads, really doesn't have an idea what they're doing. So it's something that I could totally leverage in terms of landing, like I talked about in a previous vlog, like one freelance client and taking that money to subsidize like payments for Instagram swipe up ads and some like Facebook ads to promote the podcast. And it's just important to remember that don't discredit what you know. Not everybody knows what you know, so you should find a way to leverage that, put out content about it, and build who you are around it. Like I could leverage this Facebook ads and probably do quite a bit with it. So it's definitely something I'm going to be interested in to playing around with once once the playoffs are over at the 67s in a couple months here, knock on wood that it is a couple months. Yeah, just thinking. I don't know why this is my thinking hand motion, but also around the topic of things I need to correct. I need to stop looking at myself when I'm vlogging, and I need to look at the camera. That's something I've caught myself doing. But I'm rambling now. All of this to say, episode 37 of the podcast was fun. It's actually not coming out till June 10th, though. That's crazy. I am like 2 months ahead in terms of recordings right now, which is awesome. But I know that things are going to get pretty hectic with work right now. I'm currently in a stretch of 19 days in a row, and I only know it's 19 days in a row and not 20 because I don't know what my 20th day is. So I'm saying 19 days in a row without a day off right now, which is pretty crazy. And like next weekend, so if I go to Sudbury, my week next week will be starting this weekend. Game tomorrow night. Saturday is the OHL draft, so I'll be at work like probably like 8 a.m. and then I'll probably leave after the 5th round and then work till 3 p.m., 4 p.m. And then after that, the Sunday, game 2. And then if I leave for Sudbury, I don't have my itinerary yet, but it'll likely be Monday, and then I'll go Monday. 67s play Tuesday in Sudbury. Wednesday is an off day, but I'll still have to produce a ton of content when I'm on the road. If I go on the road, it's not confirmed yet. Thursday will be another game. Come back, travel home Friday. Friday is all the kids from the draft arrive, and actually Wednesday is the U18 priority draft, and then all the kids arrive for development camp on Friday. I don't think I'll be attending that banquet, depending on traveling and if I'm traveling and all that. And then Saturday is on-ice testing and fitness testing from 9 a.m. to about 4 p.m., I believe. And then if, knock on wood, that there's a requirement of a Game 5, and knock on wood in the event that hopefully there isn't, but there might be, then there's a game that night. And then following that, the Sunday is the Red versus White, the Prospects game. So, and then I'd be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday after that. And who knows and I don't know my schedules after that. So I'm currently in like a stretch of like 19 days in a row. So yeah, things are gonna get hectic when it comes to work, and I'm not gonna have a ton of time to produce podcasts and even edit them. Editing them is stressing me out. Like I know I'm probably gonna start cutting it close with episodes. I think I have 3-4 weeks ahead right now, which is a nice little buffer. So hopefully I can kind of stay ahead of that. But all of that to say, it's a good thing that I'm 2 months ahead, because my next 2 months could be very, very hectic. I know not everybody likes Barstool Sports, but this company is very, very smart. They have a very, very good understanding of who their target market is, what their demo is, and how to please their customers. So I don't follow a lot of Barstool accounts. I follow
Spittin' Chicklets is the main one that I follow. I listen to the podcast religiously, every single one. And there's a fan account for Spittin' Chicklets called Spittin' Chicklets Memes. And they just make funny memes, things that people in the Spittin' Chicklets community would understand, things that guys on the show say that they kind of poke fun of, different stories, things like that. And they do some really good work. And the guys in the podcast, they're aware of it. They shout them out all the time. And I just saw that Chicklets Memes just got signed by Barstool. So now officially, like, they're officially a part of Barstool. And that's just smart on Barstool's behalf, because, like, fans of Spittin' Chicklets love Spittin' Chicklets memes. It's just creating more content for Barstool. And Barstool looked at that and was like, well, why don't you create content for us? There's literally no downside to signing these people. They're already established. They have a sizable following. They're creating additional content for one of your existing platforms, and people love it. It's just such a smart thing. Barstool's very, very smart. They're very good at, like I said, giving people what they want. Another thing that Barstool's good at, and where I think influencer marketing is going, and I'm not going to talk about this now, I might talk about this later, but I tweeted about this the other day, that Barstool is kind of on the leading edge of handpicking and grooming their own influencers. People within Barstool are Barstool employees, but they're also influencers in their own right, and they weren't all necessarily influencers beforehand. I think it's something really interesting. I'll get into it later, but back to this Chicklets memes, Barstool is just very smart at giving the people what they want. Just want to give another shout out to Shancy. I just got home and I checked my Instagram. She threw up this awesome Instagram story giving me a super nice shout out. I definitely want you guys to check that one out. So I'm going to screen record it so you can watch it right now.
Just some context. So Jacob Kelly is the podcast host of My Social Life, and I just recorded an episode with him. It's going to come out on June 10th. But he also runs the Ottawa 67s account, and I guess he's just done such an amazing job, and they're actually doing really well, so it's like great content opportunity. But he was interviewed by CBC about how good of a job he's doing on social media for this winning team. So I mean, that right there is talent. Not everybody can do that. So if you guys are really good at social media, don't underestimate your value just because other people suck at it and are not getting the same results as you. So go Jacob.
Another crazy thing happened tonight. D-Rock, Gary V's original videographer, D-Rock, shared the podcast. So Caleb talked about D-Rock when we were recording his episode, and so I clipped that part and I just like captioned it as lessons learned from D-Rock, and Caleb commented on it today and tagged D-Rock in it, and D-Rock happened to see Caleb's comment, saw the post, liked my post, which I thought was pretty cool. I just kind of freaked out when I saw that he liked it, and then I was just watching his Instagram story and saw that he shared that post too. So that's crazy that D-Rock shared a clip from My Social Life. I sent him a message. I was like, hey, I know you're kind of head down grinding on your own thing, and I respect that, but if there's ever a time down the road where you're down to come on a podcast, I'd love to have you on. I don't think he's seen it or he hasn't responded yet, but still really cool that I got the share from D-Rock. Pretty productive morning so far. I went to the gym, as you saw, did a little bit of meal prepping, and then now I'm just editing the Gracie Gordon podcast episode just before I run into work here around 12:30, 1 o'clock-ish. This one's taking a little bit longer to edit. So this was a Skype one that I did. Skype ones usually take a little bit longer just because there's always extra audio issues when you're recording over the internet, especially over Skype. So what happened was her audio is actually not bad. Like, it's pretty good. It's better than mine, believe it or not, because what happened was when we recorded the episode, the audio was coming out of my speakers and I couldn't get it to come out of my headphones. I was having troubles. So the mic picked up all of the external audio. So there's a ton of like staticky noise from the speakers getting picked up by the mic. So I'm having issues with that that I have to deal with. So every time that I stop talking, I just cut it. And I cut around where Gracie's talking because I have to clean up the Skype audio so it's good, and I just have to remove the background static and stuff of my end. So it's taking me a little bit longer every time someone starts and stops talking. I have to stop and cut. But no, it's a good episode. I'm probably gonna get about 25 or so minutes of it done before I gotta get going here. But I am gonna try just kind of avoid these audio issues going forward. I was talking with the guy that used to do Gary V's podcast, Seth Feingersh. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think I mentioned him. Might have been on this vlog or the last one. He followed me. Anyways, I don't know if I updated you guys. He's actually going to come on the podcast. We talked once my schedule gets a little bit lighter. He's going to come on my social life. And he also recommended Zencastr to me to do remote recordings. He says it's much better than Skype. It's usually got a better sounding audio. So I'm going to dabble around with that. I looked at briefly the Hobbyist. You can record up to 8 hours a month, which is more than enough for me. So I'm going to play around with Zencastr to see if that makes my life any easier when it comes to doing these audio or these remote recordings. Tonight is the Eastern Conference semifinals, the first game of the Eastern Conference semifinals. The 67s haven't been this far in the playoffs in over 7 years. And another thing with tonight's game is that I get to be the guy on ice in front of the probably 6,000 fans asking questions and doing the interviews. Bianca, my friend, she's usually the in-game host. She's down in Thailand right now, so the video production team asked me if I could be the guy on the mic asking the guys a couple questions at the end of each period. So I'm really excited for that. I'll see if I can get some footage of that to show you as well in this. What a game. 8-5 win for the 67s. I don't think many people were expecting that one with two of the top defensive teams in the league. But it was fun. Being the guy doing the interviews in the intermission was actually super fun. I was a little nervous for the first one. I was really to go to the bathroom. That probably didn't help. It's probably kind of also being a little nervous. But no, the second one I was just super comfortable and like it was awesome. Like when they introduced the guy's name and the crowd like goes crazy. Well, I don't know what crazy, but when the crowd cheers, like that's a pretty cool feeling. So I had a ton of fun doing that one. Get to do a couple more on Sunday. Yeah, back here bright and early tomorrow, 9 a.m. OHL priority selection. The draft is tomorrow morning, so got to be there for that. Yeah, gonna be good. Anyways, I'm heading out now. We'll see you in the morning at the draft. The aftermath of a 67s playoff game. It's a lot quieter in here now than it was a couple hours ago. On my way back into the office now for the OHL priority selection. Didn't have time to get food this morning, so I went to stop at Timmy's and grab some. But yeah.
With the 21st selection in the 2019 OHL, the Ottawa 67s.
The Ottawa 67s are pleased to select as their first round selection Jack Mateer from Sioux Thunderbirds.
Didn't get the chance to vlog after that first round pick. Only reason I had that is because I was posting it on social media. But other than that, it was just a crazy busy day, crazy busy couple days really. Like I left the house yesterday at 1, I got to work just after 1 and I got home today at 7, so I left work around 6:30. And from 1 o'clock yesterday to about 6:30 today, the only time I was at home was to sleep. I literally didn't get home till around midnight yesterday, went to bed, woke up, had a shower, and then went back to work all day until 6, and it was crazy. It was like, so a player, they'd announce a player, I would do a graphic for Twitter and Facebook, I would post it, and then I would go back into Photoshop and do a graphic for Instagram and Instagram story, and then I'd send them to myself, and then I'd post one on Instagram story, and then I would send the Instagram size graphic to the kid we drafted, be like, hey, welcome to 67s, and then from there, I would kind of have to wait. I didn't post all the individual Instagram graphics at once. I did sliders throughout the draft. But by the time I got all that done, and sometimes like the kids didn't have photos in like our photo database, so I had to go and find a photo. And by the time I usually got all that done, it was the other kid was either like our next pick was coming up or we'd already made it. And it was just a constant cycle of like trying to stay caught up on all these draft picks coming in. So it was a crazy day. It was really cool being in the draft. I made it last year as well. Really cool again being in it this year. Following the draft, joined the scouting staff, GMs in the locker room. We had a couple beers. That was pretty cool. Then I just kind of came home, just kind of crashed out a little bit, watched 3-4 episodes of Friends, made some dinner. But that's not a bad thing. I know I'm a big fan of hard work and always working, and don't usually like to sit still, but I do realize that from time to time it's good to just kind of chill out a little bit and not always be go. I'm going to run myself into the ground. Did that a couple of months ago and got pretty sick there for a little bit. Like, not like anything serious, just a really, really, really bad, like cold, almost flu type deal. But getting off track. It's good to just kind of mellow out for a little bit. I just got some dishes done. Gonna jump in, edit some of the podcast, and probably get to bed because we got game 3 tomorrow. But this is the end of week 3 of the vlog. I'm glad that we're sticking with it. I'm enjoying doing these. And actually, it's funny that something I have to remember now is that today is the 1-year anniversary of the time I started doing these daily videos on Facebook. On my Facebook page, my plan for it a year ago is I'm just going to post 1 minute of video every day. And it's my Facebook page is going to be a collection of random 1 minute videos from my day. It was basically just like talking to my phone or different things, and I stopped doing it because it didn't really turn out to how I thought it would be. But my point with that was I'm always trying to do like a vlog of some kind. I always come back to it. So I'm glad that it's working right now. We're 3 weeks in. I'm excited to keep going. No word yet if I'm going to Sudbury with the team next week. We'll have to find out. That'll be something for the next vlog. So if you watch this entire thing, thank you very much. I will see you next Tuesday. We put the vlogs out every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. And yeah, make sure you like, share, subscribe to the vlog, and we'll talk soon.